All right, let me show you what I do on a Sunday. Go fishing. With the cows.
Welcome to Gene Ho. And Gene, we've just seen you there in all your glory, but we're not looking at you, we're looking at that pond. That's what I thought. It was a bird bath that you were saying that you had, but that's practically
Yes,
the Atlantic Ocean.
sometimes the cows come down to visit. We let them eat the grass right down by there, but it's great. And it's my little home away from home, a little hobby I have. Fishing.
Yeah,
Who knew?
yeah, it's good, and it's out the back door, isn't it?
Yeah, just right around the back.
Yeah, that's superb. Well done. Wish I fancy that. Never mind. We've got a swimming pool, but there's no
Oh,
fish in
that's
it. We occasionally get a snake in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have a swimming pool too, and we get a lot of the frogs in there. No snakes yet though, but the
Oh, I
frogs.
see. Perhaps we're not putting enough chlorine in it. Probably. Listen, we got lots of stuff to talk about, and there's various things happening in the States, all tied up with midterm, of course. But there's a SAVE Act and a Clarity Act. So we'll start with the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
I would say that it's almost obvious that you've got to check as a country who is in there legally and how can they prove it before they give them permission to vote. But this is just tightening it up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's to make it as simple as possible. These are to tighten up some of the laws that are already there. And, Donald Trump wants to make this is his priority going into the midterms. Uh, for whatever reason, it's tough enough to try to get it, and it's not doing very well in the Senate. So we'll see what happens. But a lot is riding on this SAVE Act to just tighten up the rules a little bit. That's all it does. And in the United States, the states have the jurisdiction to run their elections. However, the Constitution also allows for federal oversight in a certain way. And that's what it boils down to. It's a little bit more federal oversight when it comes to these federal elections.
For our European viewers, why is it tight in the Senate? Why is it hard work for Trump?
That is just an amazing question here. Now, so even in some of these jurisdictions in the Midwest, even though in the Midwest is really designed, I would say designed, very conservative voting there. In certain areas like that, it could make voting more difficult for some of their people there. Ultimately, ultimately, I think what's happening with the Senate here is I think a lot of these senators are trying to test their strength going up against Donald Trump. Normally, this would be a lame duck lame duck session, presidency, but Trump is no lame duck. He's really he has a lot of control even still now, and his word carries a lot of weight. And I think right now they're testing him.
There was a lot of damage done because of the recent elections in the US about how much cheating was going on. Has it been over-egged, or was there a lot of vote tampering?
Well, let me just tell this. There is a difference between actual illegal cheating and what we call gaming the system. I'll give you an example of legal, in the United States, legal cheating. It's absolutely legal. They call it ballot harvesting. And there are rules which allow a person to go into an area, by rules, collect the votes, and then harvest it basically. And then they're all legal. But the thing is, if I was a conservative, where do you think I would go to collect these votes? I would go to places that are obviously going to be conservative. However, the Democrats have mastered this. And so even though in some areas it's legal to do so, they will go into areas where they know the vote's going to go Democrat and then avoid the other side where they know it's going to be conservative. And they have been gaming the system for a very long time, and it's legal in some areas. It's called ballot harvesting. It's just basically going to a place maybe an old age home and say, hey, we'll make it easier for you to vote. Here's a piece of paper, register here, and just vote. And it's legal as long as they follow the rules. And they use it to game the system for a very long time.
Do they not have to stick them all in a bus and ship them down there?
Yes, in a nutshell, there are rules. You have to there's certain drop points that you have to go to. It has to be for a certain area. It can't be tampered. Whoever's a ballot harvester can actually go to jail if they do not go through all the steps. However, I mean, there's no secret to it. I'm voting Republican. I'm a conservative. If I was a ballot harvester, I know where to go here to make sure that most of the votes are going to be for Republican. I mean, people know. But they've been doing that to a strong degree on the other side. And it is enough sometimes to even shift elections.
Take us through the Clarity Act now. That's tightening up, and it's to do with crypto again.
Yes. The best way to describe the Clarity Act in the United States is actually the name. It gives clarity to what some of these coins are. So the ones that have there's the mature ones, I should say, like Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum. Those are going to be classified so that they cannot be picked on again. And when I say picked on, maybe the SEC wants to clamp down on this or whatever. It gives clarity to what they are. And so the only one that really has a problem with these are some of the big retail banks. Because by doing the Clarity Act and having what's called a stable coin, it will take away some of the earning power of the banks. And so there's a push and shove right now in America, basically the crypto or team crypto versus the traditional banking. And it's not designed to destroy the banking system. It's actually designed to strengthen the United States dollar, but the banking system is going to be the odd man out. And so they have their own versions, Rodney, of their politicians that they support that go against the Clarity Act. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. But before then, Lindsey Graham sadly missed already. And he was the Donald's sheriff, wasn't he, in the Senate?
That's a good way of describing it, Rodney. He was the sheriff in the sense that when Donald Trump wanted something to happen, Lindsey Graham was able to go to not only the Republicans behind closed doors, but also some of the Democrats. And so the way, I'm just explaining this very simply, but the way a politician would do that is even go into a Democrat and say, listen, we really need your vote on this. If you can vote the way that Donald Trump wants on this, I know you're also working on a bill here, and then it would be good for you. Maybe I can talk to Donald Trump and say, listen, this Democrat senator wants to do this and wants to support you, but later on, he's going to need your help here. And he was the person that was Donald Trump's help in the Senate. And I'm not sure if there's someone that's going to match what Lindsey Graham was going to be able to do, because he was able to talk to both Democrats and Republicans in that like manner, where he could just be on the golf course with Donald Trump and say, listen, Senator so-and-so, he's a Republican. I think I can make him swing your vote your way. But, later on, he's going to need help with this. And that's how politics works in America.
Yep. And we talked about the banks, but you've got competition really from the investment companies like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. And this is all part of the scene. It's changing by the day. And these are into wealth management, of course, have been for years. But it's tied up again with crypto. And in essence, you've got to distinguish, I suppose, between the RWAs, the real world assets, tangible stuff, if you wish, and the crypto stuff. So really what's behind this, again, is to set some peace in the minds of people that they're not dealing with something that will be gone tomorrow, or that will catch them out, or some rogue will rig the system so that nothing happens. I mean, it's a big area, isn't it, this?
You nailed it exactly right, Rodney. What we have here with the crypto assets is that the banks and the investment houses in particular don't know what they are, because XRP spent many times, many days in the courts where the SEC, the governing body, was trying to sue them, and they lost. And then everyone was wondering if they were going to appeal. The SEC decided not to appeal, but now the Clarity Act, if passed, will give clarity to them. So like XRP would be a commodity similar to gold. Now, what you have going on with in the investment banking, Morgan Stanley just broke the dam because they put these crypto coins, in particular Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin, into their ETFs. So there are investment packages. Now, what this does is the other investment houses say we're gonna lose ground, because someone like my mom is going to buy into Morgan Stanley, and she's going to feel diversified because she has some Solana or Ethereum. And then her friend is going to go, well, I want some of that. I want to be better diversified, but my company, my investment house doesn't have that. So once Morgan Stanley broke through the wall, all these other investment banking houses are going to follow suit because they don't have those products yet. And that's what you're seeing. You're going to see all these investment houses, especially once the Clarity Act passes, they're going to have their own investment trust accounts in ETFs as part of their investment packages, so people can invest in them. It's changing finance in the world.
Now, the big banks, of course, especially in the UK and other countries, have a guarantee. It's about $100,000. If the bank fails, you're at least husband and wife separately are guaranteed $100,000. Now, is this something of the same? Is the guarantees that spread to crypto?
Well, here, that's a great question. And in the United States, we have the FDIC, so that if you have an account, you are guaranteed in that bank up to $250,000. That is a guarantee. And people feel confident putting their money in the bank. And then if the bank goes bankrupt, the United States government will cover it. So we have something very similar. These exact things are the things that the Clarity Act will take care of. However, just like anything else, what it seems like is that these are commodities, just like no one has a guarantee on gold where it goes. And so the banking system should be, in America, is very established in that sense. But now the Clarity Act has other things, such as the stable coins, which is pegged to the dollar. So we'll see how all of this plays out. But it just shows you the confidence that the American people, individuals, have with the bank account, that if you deposit your money and the bank goes out of business or whatever, that the government will make you good up to that amount. Just like you said, in Europe, maybe it's 100,000.
Yeah. Moving on, Gene, we'll come down to earth with a bump. And a lot of people this side of the pond are shocked with the amount of shootings in the States. Now, we're not saying, oh, how dare they do this and allow all these gun laws, because it's knives in the United Kingdom and other countries that we have a penchant for. But I'm thinking of Idaho, 3 people dead and 20 odd injured. And it was a new restaurant, an In-N-Out restaurant there. And tell you what happens to me personally with a lot of stuff I'm getting from the States. And it's a different mindset, really, the other side of the Atlantic. I often get letters and emails, and they've got logos on of the company. And the number of logos, for instance, that show a Bible and a gun on top of it, a pistol on top of it. And that is so alien to the European mind. What is that about?
It reminds me of when Obama said that they cling to their Bibles and guns. I mean, I cling to my Bible and I do cling to my guns. But I will say this, and this is the not funny part, but where I live and in other places where there's open where people are allowed to have guns, I'll just say that. Um, for the most part, everyone is on their best behavior because they know that everyone has guns. I'll just give you an example of that. In my home or in my state, a fenced in area with a no trespassing sign. So your home is fenced in and a no trespassing. When those gates close at night, for the most part, everyone knows you don't go into that property because they know everyone has guns. And then once you're trespassing, you know, it, you're going into someone else's. It's like they're going into a person's home. So in the United States, there are places that do not allow open carry. There's places that with a lot of gun control. And I'm not trying to make it a debate that says this way is better than the other way. But I will say in places that have these open carry laws, people are on their best behavior because they know that the guy next to them has a gun. If you attack them, they'll defend themselves. And so it's just not to say that it's always like this, but most of the time, or some of the time, some of these places where you hear about these mass shootings, there's like gun laws to prevent so that the bad guys with the guns knows that the other guy doesn't have a gun. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. The other thing we've had through this week is some stats about the number of homicides per 100,000 of people in a town or a country even. And it's fascinating. In Ireland, it's about 0.9. In Britain, in United Kingdom, it's about 1. Tiny bit higher in Spain, but generalizing in Western Europe and in many other countries, it's about 1 homicide for 100,000. In the States, it's 7.
I'm sure those numbers are frightening to me as well. Certainly, it is a big debate. It is an absolutely big debate in the United States of America, where if you go, hey, let's take away all the guns, which I don't believe so, but whether you take away all the guns, period, have none, or you have everybody has guns and everyone feels safer because of that. It's the age-old debate in America, I should say.
It is, and we're not going to move it on, but we'll move on to the next item. And that's Trump. Has he actually got the Arab republics that are on the side of the West to achieve something? Is he Arab talking to Arab? They understand the culture and they seem to be getting somewhere.
Listen, I have said this before when it comes to the Middle East. Number one, it is there is a brotherhood with Arab nations. However, I think even they, or most of them that I would imagine, know that it's a problem between the extremists and the moderates, if I could say it that way. Because right now we have the Abraham Accords is trying to make their way into Saudi Arabia. Certain other Muslim countries are dealing very well with Israel. Saudi Arabia is not yet, but they're in the talks. They have some issues with some of the ones in in Israel where they are Palestinians there. So there's a lot going on with that, but I believe that a lot of them are extremely reasonable people that are against the extremists, and there is a brotherhood there, I would imagine, but it's a very complicated area, but it's more settled in, not so much Muslims against Jews, but basically the extremists on both sides that are making it very, very difficult for them to negotiate.
Well, let's hope it sticks this time. and we're going out again on your backyard. And
Yes.
we wish you well. And listen, psychologically, it must be fantastic to get away from things that near to your back door.
Yes, it's wonderful because like on a Sunday or on the weekend when I want to get away or at night, I could just get my fishing pole and just walk back there, and it is enjoyable, very much so.
There you go. We'll leave him in peace. And if you want a pond, what do you call it? A pond in the States?
We just call it a pond, and a pond is not a pond unless you have a couple of ducks floating around in there. So that makes it legit.
There you go. We'll leave you in peace. Well done, Gene. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, let me show you what I do on a Sunday. Go fishing. With the cows.